Welcome back everyone to our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. So far the season is going great. 3 races in, we've had 2 podium finishes, and you can see here on the right hand side of the screen in the standings, while we are in 5th, we are only 1 point out of 3rd place. So everything is going great. You can easily see who the top dog is so far in the series, but I am very happy about where we are, both on our car and our drivers and everything about those. Everything is going good. Let's move through some of these wonderful emails. So we haven't had any mistakes for at least 2 weeks now. I can't remember if we had any in our first race, but so I'm going to leave that thing alone so far for the pit crew. All right. Oh, we got another agent that's telling reporters that we're interested in signing this particular person. So we're just going to take that and move on. Once again, it would be very nice if we got some different interview questions to ask just every now and then. All right, let's go ahead and move forward, get our car repair done, and move a little bit closer to our new brake package being completed as well. Okay, car repair is done. Let's see what we've got. So we've got 29% on the reliability for our new gearbox. So, which is going to give us quite a nice jump here, about 40 points jump in performance once it's ready to go. We got some more sponsorship opportunities coming. We'll let that ride for right now. All right, new brake package is finished. So if we, or at least, yeah, there we go. Got our email, get that out of the way. So we're at 317 with a possibility of 358. On that one. So if we come back into our improve the parts, and again, this particular part has no risk of failing the inspection, so we're good there. And let's see, let's go ahead and add this. So right now it says 14 days before the race, we'd be ready to go at 100% with this. So if we add this in, well, and we're able to keep things in the proper spot. I have no idea why that just swapped over everything to performance. But anyway, so 1 day before the race. All right, so we're golden. That's exactly where I want it to be. And we'll go ahead and add this in as well, just so we can slowly creep toward where we want it to go. But you can see that's going to be a very nice jump from 259, 311, all the way up to 358. That's going to be a nice jump. Now, for the time being, 305 to 317 isn't going to be a huge jump, but another 40 points once we get it maxed out will be awesome. So let's head back in and see what else we've got for brake package. So we've got our plus 30 right there, and then we could go the 25 to the max. That'll get us up to 388 maximum. And then if we look into the great stats, I see a plus 40. The minus 20 to the max isn't wonderful. Let's see. Oh, we got some weight stripping here. Performance gain time. Okay, so that'll be something new for me. That's I believe was added as part of the DLC, the update that came with this. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm liking the improvements we're able to continue making in these. We're going to get a couple of brake parts done. Maybe, who knows, maybe 3 of them, and then we'll move back to some of the other parts on the car. The good news is we're still up here on this, but of course we started the season maxed out on the brakes. We were right up here with the best of anybody in this division, but you can see that's slid down because the AI are making improvements just as we are. So we've got a long way to go, in particular with our handling with the suspension. So we'll keep that in mind, and we'll get back to that and get some more part development done there. But I wanted to get a few brake packages done as well so that we don't end up falling behind. Okay, let's see where we are. Okay, excellent. Excellent. We're definitely getting there. And again, we should be done before the next race on that part of it. And let's see, where are we with sponsors? We've got 2 deals open. Okay. So we'll give that a little bit more time. There we go. Now we've got our new brakes are indeed finished now. Okay, so we'll come in to improve our parts. And for now, I'm going to leave everything as is, with the exception of going ahead and adding our new parts here, because we don't have enough time to get the new brake package. Let's just find out. Okay, it says 5 days after in order to get there, but that is a huge jump in performance there. So no doubt that is a big deal, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. We're going to go back to what we had. Again, it's not a huge jump in performance, not yet, but then we'll come back after the next race and we'll work on some more brake packages that we'll have. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and take it out of this area because we already know we're going to have one more brake package coming in. Okay, I like where that is. Let's go ahead and go back into the brakes. And let's see, we know we want the plus 30. So my wonder here, so we go 362, which is nice, but I'm wondering about this for the following year. I don't know how that would work out. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the 387, and for our final one, let's go 25 to the max. So that'll get us up over 400 with this particular package, and this will likely be our final brake package that we make for this season. Likely. Okay, so that would get us up over 400, and you can see, so that would take us from 250 and 300 to up over 400 for our maximum brakes next season. So that's going to be good. Again, we're just trying to sort of hover along with our brakes, and as we try to improve the rest of the car. Okay, let's keep things moving right along, and hopefully we don't have anything weird that comes up before our next race. And okay, so far so good. There's our brake package. And okay, so Scarlett, our designer, wants us to look at improving our driver lineup. Yes, that is something we're going to have to do in the future, but we're not quite ready for that just yet. One thing at a time. All right, so here we go. Now, we're at what, 97, 96? That is perfect. So let's go ahead and move our new brake package. Okay, now we'll move up to these two, and we'll continue to work again on all the other projects that we have going. Going to have to keep an eye on the money, but I am going to press it as hard as I can because I want to be able to make all the parts that we can reasonably make. All right, so suspension, we're at 211 right now with our best part. Let's go see what else we can do with suspension. We may not have a whole lot more that we can do as far as for this year. So if I go plus 20, yeah, that's not really going to get us very much. We can't get any of the great components. And let's see. There's a plus 40 even if we could get to them. There's not a whole lot there. So there's not a whole lot for us to be gained here. But what it does open up is the ability in the future. Let's see. I tell you what. So plus 4, I don't like to the max number. That means more work we've got to do. I do like the plus 50. Okay, so let's think about next year. Let's really work on that going forward because we're gonna be running kind of close on some of this money to do what I want to do. So let's just go ahead and focus on that. So this will get us to 271. What was this one? 251. Yeah. So that'll get us to 271, and then my plan is to come back and do yet another build after this to get us even higher. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start focusing on next year with that. because there's not a tremendous amount to be gained for the remainder of this year. Okay, sponsorship opportunities. We've got... Okay, so we're only going to have 3 there. Okay, so we're going to have a discussion about driver aids. Interesting. Those are always interesting discussions. All right, here we go. So we got target is 8th or above, 10th or above. Well, this is going to be pretty simple. We'll take the upfront money. And again, this is a deal that we've had in the past. And anytime you can get $1 million, that is always a good deal. Again, this is the same thing we've had in the past, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that just so we can move on, even though that was the only offer there. So we're okay for now, and we'll continue working. Of course, the better results we get will help our marketability, but the biggest thing is going to be the drivers. You can see the drivers account for so much of this. 2/3 of your marketability is based on your drivers rather than your finishes or the car itself. So we got a lot of work to do in that particular area. So we'll choose our 5th or above. And let's see, tire selection, see how close it gets us to where we want to be. There we go. So as we head to Yokohama in Japan, we see that the crucial parts are the ones that are going to take the most wear, and they also have the most to do with our performance level. So useful for top speed is going to be good. That means that our engine is not going to lose quite as much as it did in our last race where it was listed as crucial, I believe. But then we've got the brakes and the suspension are going to take a beating at this track. So that's going to be something we'll have to manage. We've got our tire set, we've got our sponsor set. Let's look at our parts and see where we're ready to go. Let's see, we're going to move from 305 to 319, and then of course from 255 to 305. And we're getting there on the new brake packages, and you can see those are going to be a nice jump for us whenever we get ready to actually use those. We'll come down to the gearbox and 262. And then, so some big jumps here, particularly for car number 2. So in the future, whenever we do go back to having actual drivers in car number 2 rather than the standbys we're using right now, then we will be in very good shape. So I can't wait until we can move up and start using these top 2 brake packages. That's going to be a nice jump for us. All right, I think everything is out of the way for pre-race. Let's head to the track. All right, folks, here we are. Practice and qualifying are done, and we are in great position to start this race. We qualified in the top 5, which is great from a performance level, but of course it also gives us an extra little bit of sponsorship money, which is always helpful and will enable us to do even more things with our HQ and with our vehicle parts. So we're going to start with the race trim bonuses at level 2 and our pit stop guru and pit stop legend bonuses on each of the cars. The setup itself turned out really good. We're going to start maximum fuel, and the soft tires line up perfectly with that amount of fuel, and our fuel burn is going to be a little bit higher on the engine mode because I think we should be perfectly fine to get by with this during the race without hurting the condition of the engine too much. At some point we're actually going to improve the reliability component of the engine, but so far it's been just fine on its own. So let's go ahead and move forward. You can see, wow, we've got the super softs. I mean, they are going pure speed here. I love it. And then we've got a lot of, well, really a mixture of the soft tires and the medium tires. So let's see where we stack up. We're going to be very close to making it. Again, I'm not sure we're going to make this a 1 hour stint just based on the fuel and everything, fuel and tires combined. But we need to make it at least 45 minutes. And then if we need to do a 3-stop instead of a 2-stop, I am perfectly okay with that. All right, so you can see, as always, we lose some time, particularly at the beginning of the race. Everybody is pushing so very hard while I am instead trying to maintain a certain length of a segment of the race. So we usually end up getting that back and then some. And again, our main goal at this point in the career mode is to just finish in the points. Anything above that, fourth, third, and so on, is considered a bonus at this particular point. Also, I know we've got some rules to vote on coming up shortly, which could really help out. Oh, look at there. We need to go back to conserve due to the tire heat. I almost missed that. Let the tire heat get up a little bit too high. But yeah, we got some rules to vote on concerning the driver aids, and that could be a huge issue going forward. Because essentially what it means is the more driver aids that you allow on the car, the less difference the driver itself makes. And you can use that to your advantage either way. So we'll see how that works out and how we want to vote on that. I've got a pretty good idea of how I want to go on that, but we'll see how it works out once we get there. Of course, that'll be in, sounds like in our next video. But for now, we are back up to 5th. See, tire heat appears to be under control and backing down to where we want it. So we're going to try to manage these tires, and of course that's going to mean that with that we can manage the length of the stints. I figure we're going to be very close to that 1 hour stint level, but I think we're going to come up a little bit short. But as always, we'll see how it turns out. All right, so far we are somehow up into the top 3, and I say somehow because I'm still amazed that we have the speed to get up there. I'm not quite used to that just yet, even though we've done quite a bit of work on the car. All right, so we're roughly 30 minutes in, and we are doing great. I mean, look at where we are right now. This is unreal. Now, granted, I don't see everything that happens on the track, so I know there has been at least one pit stop made because one of the teams was on the Super Softs. But I do not keep track of everything that the AI does, and instead I try to keep track of what we need to be doing. That's enough for me. All right, so we're up into 3rd and only 4 seconds out of the lead. So everything is going well. Let's go ahead and move up to neutral and try to get a little bit of tire heat back into the car. But again, we try to keep it somewhere around middle of the road. And here we're going to focus a lot more on longevity of the tire rather than allowing the tire to get too much heat in it. Okay, that's back to about where we want to be. So let's go back into conserve mode. Again, focusing on trying to lengthen these stints and get out of these what we need to get out of them. We're doing great on driver stamina. And so far, really good on performance as well. We're into the 12s on fuel, which is perfectly fine. That should give us plenty of fuel to make it as far as we need to make it. And 38% wear, now at 37, is also really well into the range where we need it to make it somewhere close to that hour. So I'm going to be very, very finicky about these tires right now and try to keep them almost just below the middle on tire heat. So we're still in 3rd, definitely off the pace of the leaders, but that is perfectly fine. I am definitely not going to worry about that. The good news is we're not that far off of 2nd position, so our pace is very, very good. All right, pit stops have now started, and the good news is we didn't have to be one of the first ones down pit road. All right, fuel and tire are going to line up very nicely. We're going to be very close also to this 1 hour level on our first stint. All right, let's go ahead and set up our first pit stop. Oh, wow. A 10 on expected form. Yikes. We'll take that. And Sophia is quickly becoming my choice of the number 2 driver. So Her stint should be pretty close to this, if not a little bit shorter. So we may end up doing 3 stops here. But again, we're just going to see exactly how it turns out and let the performance guide us on that. All right, first pit stop underway for car number 1. Okay, I see no issues so far. Fueling looks to be good. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and queue up our pit stop for car number 2 while I'm thinking about it. And we'll do the usual. We'll just keep filling them up with fuel and changing tires and moving on. All right, so we're going to try to conserve a little bit more with Sophia simply because she doesn't quite have the stamina of driver number 1. So if we're going to try to push very close to this 1 hour stint level, then we're going to have to do something along those lines. And then the same thing with driver number 3 in the lineup with Lee. But I'm almost planning on making 3 stops at this particular point in time. It almost just seems like that's where our best option is. But I'm going to try to manage this and get as much speed out of the car as I can. And then if it dictates that we need to do that, then perfectly fine, we'll do it. That also gives us an opportunity to get our number 1 driver back in the car if we do a 3-stint race. And of course, anytime we can do that, then I am happy to do so. All right, so we're back up into 4th and looking very good on speed. Again, we're really close to a podium position as far as speed goes. So I'm liking everything about this right now. Trying to get an idea of what the other cars are doing on strategy, but admittedly I don't pay as much attention to that as maybe I should. All right, tire heat looks very good. Let's see, now what do we have going on here? I just now noticed this. Wrong compound is fitted. Okay, so something must have happened. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Must have been something I did when I was setting up the pit stop, because naturally I don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about their pit stop, so who knows, maybe I hit something incorrectly, or maybe it was just simple pit stop mistake. All right, keeping track on where we are. We're about 25 minutes into the stint, and let's see, let's go back up to neutral. Okay, so we're about 6 to 7 seconds out of a podium position right now on speed. We are doing very good on speed in relation to the 5th place and on back, so I really like that. So things are trending very nicely for us in this race, as they have been in the last couple of races. All right, back up into 3rd. More pit stops are happening. Let's see, we've got a couple of teams that have already come in for their 2nd pit stop. All right, time to go back down to conserve. All right, car 2, as usual, complaining about driver stamina. All right, and in the meantime, once again, we find ourselves very close to the 2nd position on speed. All right, this is turning out very nice. We're now past the 40-minute mark, and we still have a good bit of fuel left and a fairly good amount of tire. We're a little bit lower on tire right now than I would prefer to be, but I think we're okay here. We may need to stretch that final stint a little bit, or I may just go with the medium tire on that final stint and try to have enough tire, because I think fuel is going to be perfectly fine. We're now 47 minutes in, and we're over 10 on fuel. So I think we're okay there. It just may be that I need to change the tire that we're on and try to do this on a 2-stop strategy. Because if we could do that, that would be huge. Because it's looking like that's where the top 2 cars are going. They're going with a 2-stop strategy, it would appear. In fact, maybe the top 4 are looking to do that. Alright, so here we are, 53 minutes in. You can see there's enough fuel there to get it to an hour, but is there going to be enough fuel there to get it to maybe an hour 4, hour 5 that we would need? Alright, we'll let him pass by the pits this one last time, and now we'll go to Lee. Now, do we have enough fuel to make it an hour 5 without turning down the engine? I really don't want to turn down the engine. If we turn down the engine, then I know we can make it, but I really want to try to do this on speed, if at all possible. And seeing that does not make me thrilled. Alright, we're going to try this. Let's go ahead and fill it up with 44. We could do it if I turn down the engine. I guess I'm just going to have to do that, as much as I don't want to do this on 2 stops. Alright, here we go. What it is going to be, hopefully, our final stop. Okay, so we're going to need about a minute 2, minute 3. So let's start off not pushing for a few laps. The difference in the amount of fuel burn is actually about 0.2 between the yellow and the orange here. So there's a pretty significant difference. If we can run just a little bit on this particular section, then I think we'll be okay to turn it up for the remainder of the race. Okay, let's go ahead and set up another pit stop, which unfortunately will not be the last. For car number 2, fill them up. There we go. Alright, so let's work with Lee. Alright, so these guys are looking good, having made only 1 stop right now. They're looking good for this to be a 2-stop race. Very good, in fact, on some of them. So this is definitely going to test us to see if our strategy works out. Because we're going to be right on the edge. And again, I'll continue to run the engine mode on level 2, or the yellow, for a good portion of this, just trying to make sure we can make this on speed. Because if we can't make it on speed, then or make it on fuel, then it's no use, and we might as well just go as hard as we can and plan on making another stop. But I think the tires will get us there. It's just a matter of whether or not the fuel will. Okay, so as you can see, we are now on the podium. Now the interesting thing here is what the leader has chosen to do. That is very interesting. I don't think those soft tires are going to last the remainder of the race. So that's a very interesting strategy that they have. They're going to have to go extremely hard if they plan on that happening. Alright, so at this point I think we're in good shape to turn up the engine, so I'm going to let it go a little bit longer before I do so. You notice that coming up behind us we've got some soft tires, so that's going to be interesting to see if we can hold them off, because they're going to be coming hard and fast. So I'm going to do my best to use up all the performance of this car that we can get out of it and hopefully maintain our position on the podium. That would be awesome if we could do that. Let's see how the speeds go as we continue to come across the line. Alright, we're looking pretty good on speed here. I mean, they're not killing us on speed. That's the great thing. Whoop, they did there. That lap was definitely not good for us. All right, trying to get past our own car there. Yeah, the team car, finally, we were able to get by. Right, let's go back down to conserve. All right, sitting about 6 seconds behind. Oh, there we go. We had another pit stop. That moves us up into second. Still about 6 seconds or so ahead of the next car behind us, but they are fighting really hard right now. So it'd be nice if they would slow down some and give us time to get away. Again, I think fuel is now in a position to be really good for us. Now it's just going to be a position, our circumstances are going to allow us to be on the podium at the very end. This is going to be, you can see they're catching us. They're down to 3 seconds, 2.5 or so away from us. So they're definitely coming hard. And they're on the perfect tire to do it, because that tire will just barely last until the end. So they're going to have plenty of speed. All right, and here they come. But of course, this still allows us to be on the podium even once they catch and pass us. So that's not the end of the world. All right, there they are. And I would estimate, yeah, they go past us on the front straightaway. But again, now we have about 8-9 seconds to the car behind us. So I'm still feeling very good about where we are. Okay, we can go ahead and push a little bit harder now. And it looks like we are actually going to make it to the end with car number 2. I thought sure I was going to have to come back in again with them. All right, I like what I'm seeing. They're way behind us now. The pit stops and so forth have really left us where we wanted to be. All right, time to back it down on the tires. Yeah, this is turning out quite nicely. If we can hang on for another 3 minutes, then we are going to be in great shape for another podium. All right, so yes, very much so on low fuel. So we were able to save what appears to be just enough to make it. So the race is now ending, but we need to come around and take the flag with Lee. There you go. So that's exactly what we were hoping for. We come home with our 3rd podium in a row. And now these are some finishes you can actually get excited about. If we can keep this up, then we definitely won't be finishing last in the team standings anymore. At least not until you get to Class A anyway. All right, very good. So we'll come home with a 3rd place finish. No worries in scrutineering. So 3rd position, again, 4 more points. We'll take it. We don't worry so much about the championship standings. What we worried about, for the drivers anyway, we worry about the team. So now we are up to 4th and 2 points out of 3rd, but only 3 points out of 2nd. So you can see the performance of our car is allowing us to really catch up and get some good finishes so far this year. All right, just do not crash. Do not crash. There we go. So we made it through. Driver form, not good. Wow, much better on car number 2. We lose only 800,000. Again, we got both the qualifying and the race bonus, so that helped out quite a bit on our money situation. Of course, every Every little bit of money we can save is more money we can spend improving either our HQ or our car. So that's going to do it for this episode, our third podium finish in a row. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more of our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager.